Regardless of how much Snoop Dogg smokes, and even if his eyes get clouded, one thing always stays clear: his sense of loyalty and appreciation for those who didn't just shape his sound, but altered the course of his life. Some names you might expect.
This is why Snoop Dogg is the coolest grandpa.
You've got 7 grandkids now.
Yes.
And others may come as a surprise. These 7 artists aren't simply collaborators. They are integral chapters in Snoop Dogg's story, and each name reveals a deeper truth about the man behind the music. Starting off with number 1, Dr. Dre. It began with a chance encounter. A raw mixtape played during a bachelor party by Snoop's stepbrother, Warren G, introduced Dr. Dre to a voice that would change hip-hop. Dre recognized the potential immediately. He called Snoop. At first, Snoop thought it was a prank and hung up. Dre called back and gave a simple instruction: be at the studio Monday.
So Saturday night, Dr. Dre calling with Warren G on the phone. I'm like, nigga, fucking Dr. Dre, fuck out of here, I hang up. Don't answer the phone. Sunday, Warren G called back again in the daytime. Snoopy, cuz, I got Dre on the phone, cuz. What's up? Man, quit lying on Dr. Dre. This is Dre. Hello? Hello? Yeah. I heard that cassette, Monday. Can you come to the studio?
That moment sparked one of the most pivotal partnerships in rap history. Their first collaboration, Deep Cover, would become a classic, though Dre reportedly disliked the song so much, he nearly shelved it. That track, however, would go on to launch Snoop's career. As work began on The Chronic, Snoop's presence was felt across the entire project. While others came and went, Snoop stayed. He wrote, he recorded, he helped define the sound. Dre later admitted that it was Snoop's drive in the studio that gave him the confidence to pursue a solo album. Decades later, their legacy continues. The two reunited for the 2022 Super Bowl halftime show and collaborated again on the 2023 album Missionary, where Snoop allowed Dre full creative control. He drove. I sat in the passenger seat, Snoop said.
Damn, who kid?
But it had that song in it. I don't even know what the song was. I just reposted on my shit because it's my brand. Then when I get wind of it, naturally, I reach out to nephew, let him know, my bad, I didn't mean that. And naturally, he responded the way he responded. Well, we family. Like, you can't have a spat or a misunderstanding with your brother, your cousin.
Of course.
A bond once formed by instinct had matured into mutual reverence. Let's move to number 2, Tupac Shakur. Not every relationship ends in celebration. Some conclude in silence, leaving behind unresolved pain. Such was the case with Tupac Shakur. Initially, Snoop and Tupac shared a bond deeper than music. They collaborated on tracks like Two of America's Most Wanted and worked side by side under the Death Row banner. Tupac's studio ethic was legendary. He recorded with an urgency that stunned those around him. Snoop once described him as the most efficient artist he'd ever worked with, capable of recording several tracks in a single session, pushing everyone around him to keep pace.
We like listen to songs. Like for example, if I made a song today, we listen to that motherfucker for like 3 days. And just be stuck on that motherfucker. Every day we come in, we just listen to that motherfucker, right? When this nigga came, he changed the whole script around. It was like, pull this song up. Everybody in the studio, he like, all right, I got 4 verses. Start writing. Nigga start writing. He go in there and bust. You bust, you bust, you bust. The song is done. Don't even listen to it. Pull the next track up.
Damn.
But the pressures of the label and Tupac's growing paranoia and rivalry with Biggie Smalls changed the atmosphere. Following Snoop's public comments expressing respect for Biggie, Tupac felt betrayed. The friendship faltered. Days later, Tupac was gunned down. There was no time for reconciliation. Snoop has openly admitted that the loss still haunts him. He was really my friend, and I didn't even get the chance, whether I was wrong or right, to say sorry. The only solace came when he embraced Tupac's mother, Afeni Shakur. That was what gave him clarity on where he truly stood with Tupac.
But that was my friend, and he was like dear to me. And anytime you got a relationship with somebody and it's like it's working, it's going good, and then y'all get an argument, then like, come on, man. Like, I didn't even get a chance, whether I was wrong or right. But the beautiful part was his mother was still here. And I got a chance to hug her and talk to her and get, you know what I'm saying, the approval from her, which was his spirit because he was always connected. So that gave me half clarity on where I was.
In the story of hip-hop, few moments capture the human cost of fame and rivalry as profoundly as this. It was a reminder that beyond the diss tracks, the studio sessions, and the fame, these were real friendships, complicated, fragile, and at times, tragically unfinished. Which brings us to number 3, Nate Dogg. Few voices in hip-hop have been as instantly recognizable or as emotionally resonant as Nate Dogg's. More than a cousin, Nate was Snoop's melodic anchor. Together with Warren G, they formed the Trio 213, a group that laid the foundation for the G-Funk movement. Nate's smooth, soulful hooks became the defining sound of West Coast hip-hop's golden age, turning tracks like Regulate, Ain't No Fun, and The Next Episode into cultural staples. But in March 2011, that voice went silent. Nate Dogg passed away following complications from multiple strokes. For Snoop, it wasn't just a professional loss. It was deeply personal. In interviews, Snoop has described the grief as losing a brother, not just a bandmate. He has also noted that G-Funk never fully recovered from Nate's absence. Yet, Snoop didn't stop at mourning. He stepped up, taking financial responsibility for Nate's 6 children, establishing trust funds, and guiding them as a father figure. His devotion extended into private life, where he regularly checked in on their well-being, ensuring Nate's legacy was more than just musical.
We do for him every night. We got a trust fund that we put together for him. So, I mean, despite him not being here, the thing that he did when he was here was so beautiful, and we're going to cherish that moment because he is definitely a legend, and his legacy will live on through his music.
To this day, Snoop honors Nate annually through social media tributes, interviews, and appearances. But it's not for nostalgia. It's to remind the world that without Nate Dogg, there is no Snoop Dogg as we know him.
And when Nate Dogg passed, it's like a piece of us was taken away from us. But through his music and the spirit of who he was, we're going to continue to keep him alive. The people have been supporting, the tributes that we do for him every night.
It was a gesture that spoke volumes, not only about loyalty, but about legacy. In a genre often built on bravado, Snoop's quiet devotion to Nate's children and his continued public honoring of Nate's memory revealed a rare kind of strength, the strength to turn personal loss into enduring tribute. Nate may have passed, but through Snoop, his voice and values continue to echo across generations. The emotion, the loyalty, the legacy, it all lives on. Now on to number 4, Kendrick Lamar. In every musical dynasty, there comes a moment when the crown must be passed, not just to someone with talent, but to someone worthy of the weight it carries. For Snoop Dogg, that heir was Kendrick Lamar. Their relationship began in 2011, when Snoop, alongside Dr. Dre and Game, introduced Kendrick at a Los Angeles concert and publicly passed him the torch. That endorsement was more than ceremonial. It was generational. At a time when the West Coast was seeking a new identity, Kendrick's arrival felt like destiny.
Watching all this love, it's a beautiful thing. You great at what you do. You ain't good at what you do. You great at what you do. And the people out here, they represent showing you that. So, I'm gonna say this and I'm gonna mean this. Nigga, you got the torch, nigga. You better run with that.
But Snoop's faith in Kendrick wasn't based on hype. It was earned. Kendrick's albums Good Kid, Mad City, To Pimp a Butterfly, and Damn 'Em redefined modern hip-hop with a fusion of lyricism, social consciousness, and raw storytelling. Snoop publicly praised these projects, often calling Kendrick one of the most important voices of this era. Then came 2024. In what has already been hailed as a defining moment in hip-hop, Kendrick hosted the Pop-Out Kendrick and Friends concert on Juneteenth. The event united Bloods, Crips, and rival affiliations on the same stage, peacefully and powerfully. It was a visual embodiment of West Coast unity. Snoop responded not as a peer, but as a proud elder. In an Instagram live stream, he said, "K-Dot, you are the king of the West. That's the kind of kings do. We unite." His tone was clear. This was more than respect. It was coronation. A torch officially passed. The industry and fans alike took notice. Tweets, articles, and editorials echoed one sentiment. Snoop had validated Kendrick's leadership not just musically, but culturally. It was legacy in motion. Through this bond, Snoop reminded the world that greatness isn't just about longevity, it's about recognizing the future and making space for it to flourish. Coming in at number 5, Eminem. Snoop and Eminem's relationship traces back to the early 2000s, when both emerged under the wing of Dr. Dre. They collaborated on Bitch Please 2 Inches and represented different coasts, but a shared commitment to lyrical mastery.
Since long, back up in the easy, baby.
So crazy.
Give me the mic to Timothy White. Pickets outside, begin to scope offices.
The mutual admiration was clear. Snoop often praised Eminem's pen game, and Eminem credited Dre, and by extension his circle, for refining his sound. But in 2020, tension arose. In an interview on The Breakfast Club, Snoop commented that while he respected Eminem's contribution to hip-hop, he could personally live without his music.
Eminem, the great white hope. White rappers had zero respect in rap. Let's keep that 1,000. No. When you talking about this hip-hop shit that I can't live without, I can live without that.
The remark went viral. Eminem responded on the track Zeus with a line that revealed his hurt. Dog, you was like a god to me. I had dog backwards. It wasn't just a clever lyric. It was a reflection of personal disappointment. For a moment, fans feared a serious rift. In a genre built on diss tracks and competition, the ingredients for a feud were all there. But instead of sparking war, Snoop chose reconciliation. In a later interview with Andy Cohen, he brushed off the friction, calling it family business, a quiet signal that real bonds run deeper than public misunderstandings. Their reconciliation came in 2022 with the collaborative single From the D to the LBC, a high-energy track that marked their reunion. More than just music, their performance together at the Super Bowl halftime show stood as a visual reminder that their respect had endured. In the end, Snoop and Eminem's story became one of emotional maturity. Their ability to disagree, process it, and come back stronger highlighted something rarely seen in the culture: conflict handled with care. Their evolution wasn't just artistic, it was personal, a reminder that growth doesn't always mean walking away. Sometimes it means walking back. Now, let's head over to number 6, Wiz Khalifa. Before fame, before the hits, Wiz Khalifa would ride around Pittsburgh with Snoop Dogg in his speakers, telling himself that one day he'd not only meet Snoop, he'd smoke with him and share a stage. It sounded like a fantasy. But Wiz wasn't joking. He saw it as destiny.
Since I got my license, I always had Doggy Style in the whip, no matter which Snoop album came out. And I would listen to that shit, or I would watch him perform and be like, I'm gonna be on stage with that. I'm gonna be right next to that, smoking weed with that.
Manifest destiny.
Yeah, I'm so cool. Like, I deserve to be, like, we deserve to chill with each other.
That destiny began to unfold in the most unexpected way at Snoop's house. One day, Snoop overheard his son playing a Wiz Khalifa track and was intrigued by the sound. Instead of brushing it off, he leaned in. He asked about the artist. Then he made the call. When Wiz got the invitation to meet Snoop, he was stunned. But what happened next was even more surreal. Snoop didn't just want to hang out. He told Wiz they'd do music together, shoot movies, and make their bond public. And true to his word, Snoop kept every part of that promise. Their first musical moment came with the remix of Black and Yellow. But it was 2011's Young, Wild, and Free that marked their true breakout as a duo. The song became an anthem, celebrating youth, freedom, and the laid-back joy both artists represent.
Cause I don't even care. Long as me and my team in there, it's gonna be some green in the air. Blowing everywhere we going, and now they knowin' when I step right up, get my lighters.
Their creative bond wasn't just about hits, it was about carving out a shared identity. With Wiz, Snoop found someone who mirrored his spirit, but brought a fresh perspective to a new generation. They weren't just making music, they were extending a cultural legacy, one built on authenticity, freedom, and fun. And in that synergy, Snoop didn't just witness the future, he actively shaped it. By embracing Wiz not only as a collaborator, but as a kindred spirit, Snoop proved that legacy isn't about holding onto the spotlight, it's about knowing when to share it, and who to share it with. And finally, number 7, Pharrell Williams. Few artists have reshaped Snoop's career like Pharrell. Before their collaboration, Snoop was entrenched in the gangsta rap image. But Pharrell introduced a new lane, slick, stylish, and radio-friendly. With tracks like Beautiful and Drop It Like It's Hot, Snoop found a broader audience and a revitalized brand. Pharrell's production didn't just complement Snoop's voice, it elevated it, offering a sonic playground that let Snoop explore new layers of expression. But as their friendship deepened, something unexpected happened. Pharrell, usually seen as the clean-cut visionary, fell in love with Snoop's lifestyle. He started inviting Snoop over not just to work, but to bring his whole crew, even the hardest guys from the streets. Pharrell wanted to be around that raw, unfiltered energy.
You know what people don't know about Pharrell? When he worked with me, all he wanted to do was be around my gangster homies. He was so infatuated with like, Snoop, bring your homies up. I want the worst of your homies, the one that steals, the one that'll get in a fight. He had to learn me, but he had to learn my...
It was ironic, because in bringing that energy into his own world, Pharrell ended up inviting in something he wasn't used to. Snoop created an atmosphere so thick with charisma and kush that Pharrell, famously straight-laced, found himself high just from the room.
You might have to explain.
Pharrell was in an environment created by Snoop. Pharrell was no longer the same Pharrell. Yes.
He was now someone else.
he wasn't the greatest producer.
He was just a guy.
Their bond wasn't about image. It was about trust, respect, and mutual evolution. Together, they made music that broke boundaries. And in doing so, Pharrell helped Snoop rediscover the fun in reinvention. Their partnership wasn't just a career pivot, it was a cultural reset. And as the culture continues to shift, one truth remains. Behind every great artist is a circle of influence that shapes their legacy. For Snoop Dogg, these 7 names are not just musical footnotes, they are the soul of his story. Thanks for watching. See you in our next video.